November 22nd, 1982. This is Joe Todd interview with Earl Canady, C-A-N-A-D-A-Y. Mr. Canady, when were you born?
What?
When were you born?
April the 5th, 1898.
And where were you born?
Carroll County, Missouri.
Carroll County. What part of Missouri is that?
Well, it's on the north side of the Missouri River, the third county east of the Kansas state line. There's Clay County, Ray County, and Carroll County.
Do you have any childhood memories about that area?
Oh, quite a lot, yes.
What was it like?
What?
What was Carroll County like as a child?
Well, it was rather frontier country when I was a child. There was a lot of the wild game left, and like wild turkeys and wild guineas and quail, squirrels, rabbits.
You go hunting as a child? You go hunting as a child?
Oh, yes.
Who was your father's name?
Ellis.
Ellis Canady?
E-L-L-I-S.
Where was he from?
Well, he was born there in Carroll County.
And what was your mother's name?
What?
What was your mother's name?
Stella.
And her maiden name?
Barr, B-A-R-R.
And where was she from?
Carroll County.
What did your father do?
My father was a blacksmith.
What there? And what's the name of the nearest town?
Bogard.
Bogard?
B-O-G-A-R-D, Bogard.
Okay, so you lived in the town then?
Well, we didn't live in the town until I was 7 years old. Folks moved to town when I was 7 years old. And I lived there till I think I was, 13, I think.
What was Bogard like?
Oh, it was a little country town. It was very prosperous at that time. We had several stores, 2 blacksmith shops, and
What was the main industry? Farming or?
well, farming was the biggest industry. My father and 2 other men, by the name of Austin, built wagons. They put in a little wagon factory and built wagons. And
What was the name of your father's blacksmith shop?
the blacksmith shop, I don't know, was just Canady blacksmith shop, but the wagon factory was Austin Brothers and Canady, ABC wagons.
They built what?
Step on that thing. Step on it. I don't like them things.
What, they built wagons, surreys, buggies?
No, just wagons.
Just wagons. When did you move to Kansas?
Oh, several times. First time in 1914, I moved to Kansas with my parents. Then they moved back to Missouri. I married. Let's see, I don't remember. I lived several places and I couldn't give you dates too accurate. I lived in Hayes, I lived in Ellsworth, and then after I got settled with Santa Fe, this last time, I moved to Wellington from Marceline, Missouri, worked for the Santa Fe, and they moved me to Wellington, Kansas, and I was there my last 14 years before I retired as a car inspector at Santa Fe.
Where'd you meet your wife?
In Carroll County, town.
What was her name?
Naoma Faye O'Neill.
There. June 8th, 1983. This is Joe Todd, an interview with Earl Canady.
You got my name spelled right.
C-A-N-A-D-Y?
D-A-Y.
D-A-Y.
D-A-Y. There's so many of them that spell it different.
When were you born?
Carroll County, Missouri.
And when's your birthday?
April the 5th, 1898.
1898. Who is your father?
Ellis Canady.
Was he from Missouri?
Carroll County, Missouri.
What kind of work did he do?
He was blacksmith.
Blacksmith. Did you work in the blacksmith shop with him as a child?
I did, yes, but I never followed it up. I didn't like it.
What'd you do in the blacksmith shop as a child?
Well, the first thing I got into, I sharpened and polished cultivator shovels.
How'd you do that?
Well, I heated them in the forge, and took them out, hammered out the anvil, hammered them out sharp, and took them to a polishing wheel and polished the rust and everything off them so they'd scour.
What kind of bellows did you have?
What?
What kind of bellows did you have in the forge?
Well, first we had just a hand bellows, just to pull it your hand.
Yeah.
But my dad rigged up and got a little electric motor and put on it. Had a kind of a rheostat, had 3 different speeds on it.
How long would it take to heat up the metal with the hand bellows? How long would that take?
It didn't take any longer than it did with the other, only you was just tied up there pulling that thing where the otherwise you could be doing something else.
Did you use coal in the forge?
Used, you can say it's coal, it's lignite.
Lignite?
Yeah.
Where'd you get it from?
Coal Hill, Arkansas.
Coal Hill, Arkansas.
Mm-hmm.
What part of Arkansas is it?
Well, it's right south of 40 Highway, about, I'd say halfway between, what's the name of the town that's on the state line between Oklahoma and...
Fort Smith?
Huh?
Fort Smith?
Fort Smith. About halfway between Fort Smith and Little Rock, on Old 40.
Mm-hmm. What else you do in the blacksmith shop?
Well, my dad blacksmith from the time he was 12 years old out in the country till he moved to Bogard in 1905. Moved his shop to the town of Bogard. He blacksmithed there for 13 years. He bought into a third interest of wagon factory. And these other fellows done the woodwork and he done the blacksmithing.
Did you help in the wagon factory?
Who?
Did you help in the wagon factory?
Oh, slightly, as a kid.
What'd you do?
Well, I was pretty good at driving spokes in wagon hubs. I'd take a 4-pound hardwood mallet and drive a spoke into a hub, but you couldn't drive it with a sledgehammer. Because you had to hit it square, see? You had to hit a positive lick. And your sledgehammer would wobble, see? It wouldn't drive it.
What were the spokes made of?
Well, most of them that we used was made out of white oak.
Now, how'd you make the spokes? How'd you do that?
We had a wood lathe, and we had, I can't think the name of it now, it was a reamer deal that made the pins that the fellows went on to.
How'd you make sure the spokes were uniform or even?
Well, we had a gauge on the I Can't say what I want to now.
What, a gauge on the lathe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the gauge on the lathe cut them all just alike.
Oh, so you had a machine that cut the...
Yeah.
Okay.
Cut the spokes out.
Yeah. What about the hub? How'd you make the hub?
We never did make any hubs. We bought our hubs already. They had to have special machinery. Those hubs were made out of wedge-shaped pieces. And they were glued and pressed together under high pressure. Well, these spokes in that thing, there was nothing to ever let them make them come apart. Because all the pressure was pushing in, see? And the hubs would stay together.
Mm-hmm. Did you make the outside rim for the wheel?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. How'd you do that?
With band saws.
Mm-hmm. Was that made of white oak also?
Oh, yeah.
And what about...
that is white oak timber country.
Mm-hmm. Mm. Did you cut your own trees?
Well, my father did. He had 320 acres of big timber. And he had a half interest in the sawmill with his brother-in-law. They cut that timber and cut it up in the rough. And then stored it for a year to season.
Did you do anything special when you seasoned the wood, or just let it dry naturally?
Just let it was put in the loft to the wagon factory and waited so it wouldn't warp.
Mm-hmm. That was in Bogard, Missouri?
Bogard, Bogard.
Where is that? What part of Missouri?
Well, you know where Carroll County is?
Yeah.
Well, Carroll was the county seat. Bogard was 5.5 miles north and 2.5 miles west of Carrollton.
Okay.
You go up 65 highway out of Carrollton, State 65, 2.5 miles and turn west. 5.5 miles, turn west 2.5 miles.
Okay.
That was on a branch of the Burlington Railroad from Carrollton, Missouri to Autumnal, Iowa. It wasn't the CB&Q, yeah. Yeah, it was the old CB&Q.
In the sawmill, was it run by a steam engine?
Yeah.
What kind of saw blade do you have in the sawmill?
Huh?
What kind of saw blade? Did you have the big, you have a band saw?
No. Saws they used back then was a loose tooth.
A loose tooth. Now, what's a loose tooth?
Well, your saw had a slot in it. These teeth were driven in that slot and swedged.
Who sharpened the saw teeth?
What?
Did your father sharpen the saw teeth?
Well, you never sharpened them. You swedged them.
What's that?
Well, you had a tool that you put on there and you hammered them out flat so that they had a little set in them. They cut just a little wider than the tooth. All they used to file a little on them, not very much.
Mm-hmm.
Several people could file them saws.
Did you ever file the saws?
No, I never.
Yeah. How many people worked in the sawmill?
Oh, I think there was about 5 or 6 at this sawmill. Just a small outfit.
Yeah.
Saw maybe 1,000, 1,500 foot of lumber a day.
Yeah, I was going to ask. Now, how did you turn the logs for the blade? Who did that?
What do you mean?
You know, you have the log on the track.
The head?
Yeah.
They were on headers.
Yeah.
Well, you had a what they call a cant hook. It was just a hook of a business on a long handle. 2 fellas just hook ends up and turn it over.
Mm-hmm.
Get it off, turn by hand.
You ever get the what they call a steam nigger?
What?
You know what a steam nigger is?
No, I guess I don't.
Okay, that's, of course, it's not a very good name for it, I guess, today, but it's all operated by steam now. They have automatic hooks that turn the logs.
No, we didn't have anything like that.
Okay.
Everything was all manpower except
Yeah.
the power pulled it.
When did you start working for the railroad?
1923.
1923. Well, what did you do between the sawmill and the railroad?
Oh, I done a little bit of everything. I farmed a little, not very much.
What, Missouri?
Yeah. I ran a little grocery store about a year and a half.
There in Bogard?
Yeah.
What was the name of it?
It didn't have any name.
Just
Just
the
a
store.
grocery store.
How big is Bogard?
At that time, it had about 1,500 population, and now I imagine possibly 200 retirees there. That's all there is there.
Mm-hmm. Is it mainly what?
It's between Carroll and Chillicothe, and it's the paved highways and everything. Business went right on by it. See, just went to pot. Anything there amounts to anything. That's no some retired people.
The main business there, was it mainly a farming town?
Well, mainly, yeah, in a way.
Mm-hmm.
We had 2 blacksmith shops and there's 2 general stores. Well, the one big general store, Thomas store. They had a lumber yard, hardware store, machinery, tools, everything you can think of, clear on down, including groceries. And even had a milliner shop.
Who ran that?
A woman there in town.
What was her name? Do you remember?
Agnes Sugg. S-U-G-G. Agnes Sugg was the milliner. She made the fancy hats for the women.
Mm-hmm. So did you move to Texas in 23? I mean, Kansas in 23?
No. Marceline was
And what did you do for the railroad?
I was a car inspector.
What does a car inspector do?
Inspects the trains for defects. Inspect rolling stock.
Rolling stock.
Yeah,
What's rolling stock?
rolling stock.
That's the cars, or?
Yeah, cars, the engines. Well, of course, we didn't inspect any of the engines. Only the steam engines. We had the tanks.
That's the boiler?
No, well, it had the tank.
Now, what's the tank?
What to hold the fuel in, the water.
Okay. Which railroad did you work for?
Santa Fe.
Santa Fe.
I worked for them 3 times, but I ain't gonna tell you the dates on them because I'd have to go back too far and figure too much. But I worked 24 years for them altogether before I retired.
Mm-hmm. Can you tell me the advantage of a diesel engine over steam engine, or steam engine over diesel?
You ain't got no diesel engine at all.
You don't?
You've got a diesel electric engine. That diesel engine makes the electricity that pulls the train. Now, did you know that?
No.
All right. Your axles on your units are wound electrically. They're a motor.
Mm-hmm.
They're an electric motor. And that diesel makes the electricity that runs that electric motor.
So there's a motor on each axle?
Huh?
There's a motor on each axle?
Yeah. Give your power, you've got a diesel electric unit here. So it's got 4 wheels or 6 wheels, 2 axles or 3 axles. And each one of them pair of wheels is an individual motor.
And what about the steam engine? How's it powered?
It's powered with steam into a cylinder.
Is it a direct drive to the wheels?
Yeah.
So the steam engine is actually, well,
Your big advantage of your electric engine, each one of them wheels were independent of the other one. Your steam engine had a drive bar, and they were all tied together. If one slipped, they all slipped. With the diesel, one can slip and the rest of them won't.
okay. So that's the main advantage.
That's a big advantage,
Yeah.
as far as power is concerned. But the economics part of it, too, made the difference.
Is the diesel more economical
A
than
whole lot different.
it is?
Yes. Yeah, your diesel electric is far more economical.
Mm-hmm. Now they run I guess, diesel fuel.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. What about the steam engine? What they run on?
Well, some of them, they started out by firing with wood, coal, fuel oil.
When'd you move to Kansas?
Oh, let's see. I don't know. I can't tell you exactly the first time I ever moved to Kansas. I've been to many different places.
Mm-hmm.
Worked so many different yards. But let's see, 1903. I don't remember now when I did first move to Kansas.
What part of Kansas did you move to?
Well, I lived 2 times in Hayes. I lived once in Ellsworth. I lived once in Kannapolis. I lived once in Wellington.
Which town did you live the longest?
Wellington.
Wellington?
I lived there last.
And you were a car inspector in Wellington?
Yeah. I worked 14 years there, and then I was retired about 16 years before I come to Oklahoma.
Yeah. Now, as a car inspector, what do you look for mainly?
Everything, anything that was defect, or was liable to become defect.
Now, did you have a certain part of the car that you inspected, or did you inspect the whole car?
I inspected the whole car, or the running gears were concerned especially. Your brake beams, your brake shoes, had all kinds of contraptions, pins and hangers, and brake shoe keys, and wheels, journals.
How many people would inspect one car?
Well, on an 80-car train, we generally had 4 men on an 80-car train.
How long would it take to inspect an 80-car train?
Well, it depended on how much you done to it, what you had to do to it. If you didn't have to do any work on it, it would get done in about 15 minutes. You didn't let no grass grow under you.
Yeah. How often would you have to inspect a car? How many times a year?
Trains?
Yeah.
Well, used to be they inspected them at every terminal. But now they only give them a general inspection every 500 miles. The federal government, Interstate Commerce Commission, they wasn't inspecting them at all. And to mount anything, the Federal Bureau of Inspection made them give them a general inspection at least every 500 miles. Wellington, Kansas is a federal inspection point.
It is? Is that the inspection point for this whole area?
No. This railroad down here don't have anything to do with the main line.
It doesn't.
That's the main line up there between Chicago and West Coast. This up here this comes down into here, don't have anything to do with it at all.
It doesn't?
No.
Were you inspecting cars coming into Oklahoma?
No. We didn't have nothing come into Oklahoma. Well, they did too. Come across the Panhandle, Winoka.
Yeah.
Went through Winoka and on across the Panhandle of Texas, on into New Mexico and Arizona.
You worked for the railroad 24 years.
Yeah.
What was, how long would a set of brake shoes last in a car?
Hard to tell. You know time limit. I don't know how a person would figure the wear time.
What were they made of, the brake shoes?
Well, they were made of metal, that's all. They had spots in them that were harder than others.
Now, do they work like the brakes in a car? Same principle, or?
Right against the iron wheel.
Just right against the iron wheel. And how's it? Is it the hydraulic system or?
Air brakes.
Air brakes? Besides the brake system, what else was the main thing you inspected?
Well, wheels and bearings. Safety appliances such as sill steps, ladders, handholds.
Are the wheels in the train solid metal?
Yeah,
What kind of metal is just steel?
it's cold rolled steel now. These new cars all roller bearing, and they've got the very highest grade of cold rolled steel wheels.
Now, what do you mean by cold rolled steel? What's that?
They're cold rolled. They're rolled to shape, ground to shape, cold.
What about in the old steam engine? What were they made of?
Huh?
What about in the old steam train, steam engines? What were the wheels made of?
Well, the wheels, the driver wheels, were made just out of plain cast iron, but they had a steel tire on them.
Oh, that reminds me. Let me regress. Back in the wagon yard, did your father make the outside rim for the wheels?
Oh yeah. You mean the tire?
Yeah.
Yeah, he made the tires.
How do you get a tight fit on the rim with the tire?
Shrink it.
How do you do that?
Put it on hot, let it get cold.
Now, is it a continuous
Yeah.
rim or is there a break in it?
No, there was a break in it, but it was welded.
Did you weld it after you put it on?
No, you welded it before you put it on. It had to be measured exact, so that when it was welded, it heated that tire would expand enough you could put it on the wheel. When it got cold, you couldn't take it off.
Okay.
The tires were shrunk on the wagon wheel.
How long would a wagon wheel last?
Some of the old wagon wheels are 100 years old, I expect. Some of them get tore up pretty quick.
Yeah.
No way of estimating how long a wagon wheel will last.
Yeah.
So many different things can happen.
Okay, back to the trains. Do you ever inspect inside the train cars?
They do on a repair track
Now, what's a repair track?
where you send the bad orders.
What would constitute a bad order?
1,000 things.
1,000 things.
Mm-hmm.
What? Brakes, bearings, or?
Wheels. Anything that's defective that you can't repair in the train, they switch them out, take them over to a repair track.
Did you do any repairs?
Some.
What did you repair?
Everything.
Everything.
Anything.
It sounded like a car inspector had a pretty good job, then you did everything on it.
Huh?
Sounded like a car inspector had quite a job then.
Well, today they get about $40,000 a year.
What was your salary?
I think $18,000 was the best I ever made.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, I retired 20 years ago.
Yeah. That's pretty good money then.
Yeah, good money.
Yeah.
Big money.
Mm-hmm.
We made the same money that switchman and brakeman made.
Mm-hmm. Well, let me see. Anything else I can ask about trains?
Well, they're doing something now that I don't have any real knowledge of.
What's that?
They're using remote control boosters.
Now, what's a remote control booster?
Well, they put maybe two units on the head end of a train. Go back here 40 cars, and they put a deadhead in. It runs, you got power, just the same as either one of them engines up there. But it's run by remote control. The engineer in the head engine runs it by remote control.
That for going up, what, steep hills and all that?
Any kind of hill, any place where they want to add more power, they've got more train than that much power will pull. Instead of putting it all on the head end, it's more economical to put one unit back, maybe behind 40 cars.
Right. How many horsepower will a diesel engine produce?
Well, they've got them all the way from 600 to 2,400.
What about steam engine?
Well, I don't know anything about horsepower on steam engines. The power part of it depended a whole lot on the height of the drivers.
It did?
Yeah.
How come?
Well, your tall drivers wouldn't pull as heavy a train as a low driver would. Just the same as you take a high gear in an automobile and you go into low, you take in a smaller gear.
Okay.
The smaller that drive wheel, the more power it's got.
Mm-hmm.
But the slower to run.
Yeah.
The higher it is, the less power it's got, but the faster to run.
Mm-hmm. Did they have just one drive gear? Could they switch from...
What do you mean?
A steam engine only had one drive gear then. It didn't have more than one.
That's all.
Yeah.
Well, your diesel electrics don't have one drive gear either.
Okay.
But you have those rheostats that controls the amount of electricity you use, see?
What's your wife's name?
I haven't got a wife. I had two wives.
You had two wives.
My first wife's maiden name was Naomi Faye O'Neill. And we were married August 17th, 1918. And I lost her with cancer July the 10th, 1960. And I got foolish and remarried. If you want to call it that. I got both of my marriages were good. After 18 years, I lost my second wife. She'll be dead 4 years, 31st day of October this year.
How many kids do you have? How many kids do you have?
I had 5 children. I got one boy dead. I've got 74 direct descendants, including 8 of the 5th generation. My grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and great-great-grandchildren amount to 69. I got 46 great-grandchildren. I've got a picture of some of them up there on the wall.
Yeah. Quite a family. How come you started to work for the railroad?
I'm on the job. I still want to stay in the mechanical business.
Were you always a car inspector?
Yeah. I done a little repair work. few times, but not very much.
Mm-hmm.
I stayed on inspection practically all the time.
Yeah. Did the Depression affect you, 1930s?
Yeah, I wouldn't work for railroad during the Depression. They closed everything out till I didn't have a job.
Mm-hmm.
I done anything I could get to do. I never was on WPA. I worked twice for the state of Kansas on resources survey for about 6 months each time. They was surveying for brick clay in Ellsworth County.
Mm-hmm.
They've got a big brick plant. Acme Brick Company's got a big brick plant at Kannapolis, Kansas. And they was using cheap labor. The way they done that, take a hill here, they'd survey that hill, so you'd go out here and you'd dig a hole, I'll say 7 foot deep, with a face, and take that clay off of that face. They had it surveyed so you'd go up the hill so far, you'd dig another hole so deep. By the time you got to the top of the hill, you had the whole hill. Yeah. See what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people couldn't see through that, but I know you can.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to go to work for Boeing Airplane Factory. Let's see, in 1939, and that was when it was not Boeing, it was, I can't think of the name of it then. Boeing barred out just a short while afterwards. They, you got a rundown?
Yeah, I think so. Thank you.
You got lots of other places to go.
Oh, one or two.
A lot of important people.
Yeah. Oh, not as important as you, though.
No?
No?